It is October 21st, 2015. I love Back to the Future. I think it's finally safe for me to say it's my favorite trilogy of all time. Whoa, don't hate on me of going, what about Star Wars? That's the best trilogy. Listen, two things. One, I'm a right to my own opinion. Two, by all technical factor, it's becoming a nonology. That means 9 movies, though, which makes it not a trilogy anymore. And if you go on tangents like, oh, well, we only count 4, 5, and 6, or 1, 2, and 3, however you want to look at it, you gotta look at the whole thing. Every episode is in canon, so yeah, deal with it. Back to the Future is the best trilogy out there. Leave comments below if you disagree, but I have a right to my own opinion. That being said, people are still curious, why don't we have our hoverboards, flying cars, hydrators, self-fitting clothing? And I have a good logical explanation why we don't have these things. The reason why we don't have any of these things, it's because we don't have a time machine. But we don't need a time machine to make all these things? No, but we do need it to have it done by now. Now, let me back up a little bit. In Back to the Future 1, we are introduced to Dr. Emmett Brown, who is the inventor of the flux capacitor, and he is the one that is creating time travel. But unfortunately, he gets gunned down by terrorists, and then Marty tries to escape them in the DeLorean, and accidentally travels to 1955. And there's a lot of things that Marty has done in that movie that essentially creates a ripple effect throughout time and space. I mean, he bumps into his father, he meets his mother, kisses her. But one key thing that I think would cause the biggest ripple in Marty McFly's time travel is he inadvertently makes an early edition of a skateboard. See, back in the 1950s, it used to be just kids pushing around these box boards on wheels as a traveling fun thing. I don't know, I wasn't from the 50s. If you're from the 50s and know what I'm talking about and know why people do that, please comment below and tell me why. But Marty, to get away from Biff and his gang in the 50s, takes a kid's box cart on wheels, removes the box section of it, and just keeps the board on wheels. And that's the first skateboard. And in an amazing fashion, he uses it to get away from Biff and even accidentally guide him into a big pile of manure. He hates manure. There has to have been dozens of spectators seeing Marty McFly, or Calvin Klein as he was calling himself in the movie at the time, doing these amazing skateboard stunts. But the skateboard in our timeline isn't officially invented until 1958. That is 3 years earlier than it should have ever happened. And probably a good chunk of these spectators took a good look at Marty McFly on his skateboard and went, I need to learn how to do that. So naturally, if I was back in 1955 and saw a guy do amazing tricks on this board on wheels, me with my persona, I would instantly want to do that myself. I would go to the kids that he stole it from, to examine it, and see if I could make my own. This would create a new supply on demand for boards with wheels. Originally, the box cart board was targeted to around kids, so supply and demand for this new this device wasn't high, it's for kids, yada yada. But Marty just made the first skateboard, and now that's targeted to anywhere from kids to teens, to anywhere, anybody that's interested to just travel faster in such an amazing, so spectacular fashion. Sure, nowadays when we see people on skateboards, we don't think twice about it. But back in 1955, it's, well, probably not that far from having the first car. The only difference is affordability. It's probably a lot less expensive to have a board and 4 wheels on it than it is to have the car at the time, a truck or anything like that. So naturally, this supply and demand pushed that economy forward. Big CEOs see this happen and probably push that technology forward. How do we make our own board on wheel? How do we make it faster? Let's make our own, make it safer, pre-make it so that people can buy our board on wheels and sell it to them for a little bit more than what it would cost to make it, make some profit. This push of the technology of the skateboard would obviously make some form of advancement. That is why we get the hoverboard. See, and then when we go to the hoverboard, obviously you could use that technology to make the flying cars. And that is how we get the future of 2015. So because we never had a time machine to jump the push of the skateboard, we don't get all the amazing tech of 85's future. We get with what we have now, which is a lot of people doing selfies. Okay, I'm guilty of it myself, but that's not the point. I love Back to the Future. It's my favorite trilogy. Is it a perfect trilogy? No. In fact, I'm going to leave a link below on CinemaSins Everything Wrong with Back to the Future. It's a funny satire. Watch it. It's good for a laugh. Now, if you're curious on where I got this nice time traveler stuff, such as my Doc Brown pop figure, my 1/5 scale hoverboard, my Bill and Ted's excellent t-shirt, you can go find out on the link below where I do my Loot Crate unboxing. Until then, take it easy everyone.